Welcome to the Practice Brave podcast. I am the host, Brianna Battles, founder of Pregnancy and Postpartum Athleticism and CEO of Everyday Battles. I'm a career strength and conditioning coach, entrepreneur, mom of 2 wild little boys, and a lifelong athlete. I believe that athleticism does not end when motherhood begins, and this podcast is dedicated to coaching you by providing meaningful conversations, insights, and interview topics related to fitness, mindset, parenting, and of course, all the nuances of pregnancy and postpartum. From expert interviews to engaging conversations and reflections, this podcast is your trustworthy, relatable resource for learning how to practice brave through every season in your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Practice Brave podcast. Today I'm here with Hannah Donnelly, and she is a small business owner of a gym here in the Boise area of Idaho. And I met her, and the more I talked to her, the more I learned about her business and what she has put into opening a brick and mortar gym. And because I coach and support a lot of different athletes and coaches and different coaches who have all different kinds of business models, I just really appreciated hearing about what her story of entrepreneurship, gym ownership, and coaching has looked like. And I'm excited to share her story today. So Hannah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your background and how that led to you opening your gym.
Cool. I always don't know where to start when it comes to tell me about yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like all over the place. So, I'll just explain a little bit about me and just, I guess, the steps leading up to where I'm at today. I grew up super into sports. Mainly soccer was my thing. I started playing when I was 4 years old. So I've always had a love and passion for fitness, sports, always been into nutrition. And I actually originally went to college. I have my kinesiology degree, and I originally went for an emphasis of pre-health to become a registered nurse. And my plans pretty much took a really big pivot. Actually, my senior year of college, I was a semester away from graduating college, and my first daughter was on the way. And so I took a big pivot in my life, and it was honestly, I'm just gonna tell my whole story right now. If that's fine.
Yes, please.
It's a big.
I love diving in.
Yeah, I'm just super open, transparent, and my biggest thing for me personally is just showing up your authentic self, no matter what. And um, for me, I totally took a turn and finished my degree online while I was still pregnant at the time, and finished that and had my first daughter. It was a really, really, really rough pregnancy, really rough. And then I actually got into the fitness realm of things after I had my second daughter. I was 5 months postpartum at the time, and I was in a really fucky spot in my life. I was just postpartum, right? New mom, 2 kids, everyone's going crazy. And then my dad passed away from cancer. He was 55 years old. I was only 26 at the time. And I knew I needed to find a community, find an outlet, take care of me so that I can be the best mom and wife that I could be. And after my dad had passed away, I joined Get Fit, which really originates in Northern California, a town called Modesto. And I joined as a client, not knowing anybody, just thinking I was that soccer athlete up here, and showed up to the workout thinking I was still 17 years old. And so I joined looking to take care of myself, but then looking to connect with people because I was, a fairly new mom. I was dealing with a lot of grief in my life. And so I started getting plugged into the community as a client, did every program that they offered during the time. And I started playing indoor soccer with their training director. And we were in this game, and she collided with a girl, blew out her ACL, meniscus. And it was this heroic moment. I was like, I will take you to the ER. Let's go. So I took her to the ER. couple days later, she was like, Hannah, I think you should be a trainer. And I'm naturally a quiet, reserved type of person. I still am, let's be real. But I was like, who, me? I'm like, all right, well, I have my degree. Like, I feel like I can do this. I know, like, kind of enough in my background. And so I was on the mic like a week or two later. It's like, here, train your first class. This was about over 8 years ago now. And so that's kind of where it started. A few months went by. I started walking the road of getting certified in NASM, precision nutrition, started nutritional coaching, and I found my new why and purpose of how I can help people through fitness and nutrition and bring that community to people. Remembering my first day at Get Fit and what I was truly looking for. Yes, I was looking for a killer workout, but I was looking more for support, to feel good about myself, and just truly an outlet to deal with, like I said, like my grief. And so leading up to where we are now, I have always kind of hoped and prayed about owning my own studio someday. It's kind of like a dream I had, mainly like my senior year of high school into college. But one of those things like, cool, that's like cool to like dream big and think about, but reality, like that's probably not going to happen, and that's okay. And so, yeah, fast forward a few years, I was at Get Fit for about 7 years. And our family decided to move to Treasure Valley. Big shocker there. And so this was like not in the plans for our family. We just decided this is a better fit for all of us. And I was approached with ownership. And again, same thing going back to 8 years ago, Hannah, where it's like, hey, do you want to be a trainer? I'm like, who, me? Same thing. Hey, do you want to own your own Get Fit? And it was a no brainer to me that this was something that was meant to be and meant to happen. And here we are, open about 8 weeks ago.
Well, you've had such an incredible journey, and it seems like the next right thing was just sort of like teased right in front of you every step of the way, kind of guiding you into this next chapter of owning your own business. So is your gym a franchise, or how does that work?
It's not a franchise. We're not corporate. That's something we get asked pretty often. And the best way that I like to describe it is, yes, there are 4 different Get Fits, but each one is locally and family owned. And I like to explain it in a sense. It's like the mom and pop shop of fitness. We're small business, family owned. I'm married to my husband Nick. He's a lot of behind the scenes kind of guy, and we have 3 daughters. And yeah, it's just for us, it's to make it such a craft experience every time someone walks in through our doors. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So tell us, like, what is Get Fit? How is that different from other gyms or CrossFits or like all the other different fitness options and gyms out there?
Yeah, so I like to explain our mission statement and kind of the why behind it. So our mission statement at Get Fit is to move people towards whole health through community, fitness, and nutrition. And the reason why community is first in that mission statement is because people are first. And that is the biggest thing that truly does separate us from other studios. There is so much great fitness out there. But what separates us the most is the community that we embody here and the culture that we create. Because we very much believe that the culture that you create is what you allow and what you display. And for us, we just want a community and a culture to where people feel empowered, challenged, connected to others. We offer stuff that is just from youth memberships to someone that is maybe just starting their fitness journey. And we cater a lot towards families as well. The biggest thing for us is for everyone to be on the same page. So mom and dad are able to work out, and we offer childcare as well so that they can connect in that way too. Instead of like tag teaming, like, hey, you go to 5 a.m., I'll go to 4:30 p.m. And so our biggest heart and mission is to just truly serve people. And we do so much more than fitness. We do a lot of community events. We do a lot of socials. And truly our biggest belief is, yes, community within our walls at Get Fit, but then also outside of our walls. So our local community, how can we serve our people in our city and make this place even better than what it is today?
Absolutely. And I mean, one thing that I love so much and that was really an attractive quality to me about the Boise area and Treasure Valley was how entrepreneurial it is, how fitness and health minded it is, and how supportive the community is of different small businesses through and through. And it's one of my favorite things about living here and moving here. Because it wasn't really like that where I was from in California. I just feels like it's a really healthy place to be a small business owner, especially a brick and mortar one.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It really is. And everyone's been super supportive, and other local businesses just rallying together. Same thing. That's not something I personally experienced over from where I'm from too. And so coming here and experiencing different connections and yeah, it's been really cool.
I love it. And then just like for those of you listening, Hannah and I met through a mutual friend in this area. And when I went to her gym, I was like, oh my God, like if I were to ever open a gym, which is not even a little bit on my radar, but like the facility you have and what you've created where it's like small, but not too small. And like the structure, the equipment you have, the lighting, the space, all of it is like, it is so good. And you've just done an incredible job with bringing a vision to light and making not just the space really beautiful, but like, I guess the kind of fitness options that are available. I really love what you've done and I admire it. And it's certainly something that, as like a fellow coaching fitness nerd, like I really love and admire the space and the gym that you've created.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like people will come and they'll ask like, well, what kind of like fitness are you? And I always like to explain it in a sense of, yes, we are group functional fitness, but I really believe and feel we're a good blend of functional fitness and CrossFit. However, we don't do as heavy lifting as CrossFit or not so much gymnastic type movements. And we love and respect the CrossFit community so much. That's why we like to implement a lot of the same type of movements for people. And it's just, yeah, it's a blast just watching people come in here day in and day out and just crush their workouts and do things that they never thought that they'd be able to do. And it's been really encouraging.
Absolutely. And like you've only been open for 8 weeks. So this
Mm-hmm.
is basically a 2024 venture. Like I know you opened very, very end of 2023, but this is a brand new gym and your classes are packed, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not by chance. So I want to talk about the process that led up to getting so many members in what outwardly looks like a short period of time, but I know that this was over a year in the making of marketing. So how did that start from, I guess, creating awareness of your gym before the gym was even open, when it was still under construction?
Yeah, I'm like, where do I start?
Yeah.
Coming here as our family, I left the Get Fit community in Modesto where I was there for a lot of years and kind of a veteran trainer in a sense. And that sounds so weird for me to even say. And I mean that in the most humble way. But coming here, I have a lot of self-awareness to where people don't know Get Fit. It's not a franchise, it's not a corporate chain to where it's, across the United States. And so I knew coming into this that it was the responsibility on me to form the culture here, form the community here, and really to get for people to have that brand awareness of Get Fit as they do in Northern California, where it's very, very well known. And so it was up to me to really embody the same values and morals that we have as Get Fit as a whole. And the biggest thing that I told myself is I will never expect people to come to us. Like, I want to go to the people. And I know it takes time and effort and consistency to develop that same type of reputation with people and that same trust. And that to me was the biggest thing, especially being in the fitness industry of, you can talk about something until you're blue in the face and have so much passion about it, but until someone truly experiences it and experiences our type of training and connection, it's just like it's in a finger snap of like, man, like I get it now. And so growing up as an athlete, I just kept telling myself, like, just push through. I always relate everything to soccer because that is my love. But even in like those really hard moments, or like where you feel super tired throughout the game, it is almost over. Just keep going, push harder. And I think as like an entrepreneur, you always feel behind, like you're not doing enough, or I can do more, I can do this. And so I started brainstorming ways of, okay, like, cool, yeah, I could put a flyer somewhere, or like just a random business card, but how is that going to reach somebody if I didn't have that personal connection with them, or give them an opportunity to experience our workouts before our doors open? And so going down all these rabbit holes of what can I do, and something just landed on me. We started our first, I guess, community event September 2022. And I just started reaching out to people, which is, again, really out of my comfort zone, but I just felt like the stirring in me that I need to start doing this. And so
over a year in advance of actually opening, I just want to paint that timeline for people that it's like just a few months before, almost a year and a half between.
Yeah. And that our first community event that we started marketing and hosted, we didn't even know where Get Fit was going to be in the Treasure Valley. We were still like on the huge hunt for the right building. And so we did a workout at the Village on the greens. And so we opened it up obviously to the whole community, and it was a great turnout. First workout, I think we had about 32 people show up on a Saturday morning. We did a full body workout.
How did you get them there?
We partnered with Lululemon. So I went and connected with the manager there, and they rallied with us. And like, it's so cool throughout this whole process. It has been the biggest trust and faith building process that I have ever been through in my life. But then bringing other people into that same, like, they catch on that fire of like, you believe in it so much. Well, I am too. Like, that's a no-brainer. And so we just started marketing it like through Eventbrite, obviously through social media, creating email list. And then from there, just truly believe word of mouth started getting on. Friend told a friend. And we had really, I'm just being honest, we had no plans after that of, okay, what is our next event? It just kept like coming. Okay, let's do this next month. So we had an event every single month until our doors opened up. And some months there was 2 or 3 events. Like there was
Where were you doing these events at? Like, how did that work? Did you just keep going to other small businesses for collaborations, or where were you hosting them at? Obviously we have winter time here, which is very different for us California souls. So like, talk about the where and the how you kept building that momentum before there was even a location.
Yeah. Well, even before I moved here, I started kind of networking and connecting with some local small business owners, even before we moved. So through social media, jumped on a few Zoom calls with a couple business owners, kind of getting their wisdom and advice on like, what are the better areas around Meridian? And there's a lot of good family friends that live here too. And one of the owners, he owns a Loose Screw. He's actually an OG Get Fitter. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I have a wild idea. Can we do a burpees and brews inside your brewery? And so October weather can be a little iffy too. And so we did a workout inside the brewery, and people had drinks afterwards and hung out and started, hanging out with each other and get to know one another. Because there's so many people that have moved here that are kind of in the same boat where maybe they don't have friends or they don't have family here. And so they're looking for community too. Even if they don't really realize it, they are. Like we all need it. We all need people. And then it just kind of went from there. And I connected with a local chiropractor here, connected with him. We did a nutrition workshop in his office. And it was the biggest blessing for us because obviously they know a bunch of people and they would help, market Get Fit. And every reshare and comment and everything has helped tremendously.
Yeah, I really admire that. And what is even more unique, I think, is that you are a self-proclaimed introvert. So it's not like this is making these connections or maybe having these forward-facing events and conversations is like maybe your favorite thing or the most natural thing, but you were able to do that. So do you have any advice for people, whether they're introverts or not, but for like kind of getting over that barrier of awkwardness? Yeah. It's kind of awkward sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. I think truly, like if you believe in something wholeheartedly, don't care what anyone thinks about you. If you know your vision and you know your mission of why you're doing what you're doing, you can know like the what and the how. But if you don't know your why, you're not going to have much of a driving force. And so, me personally knowing the why behind Get Fit and why we do what we do has been the biggest motivator. And I think even being, a mom and watching, my girls watch me do all of this, it has helped tremendously of like, hey, you can be strong and you can do really whatever you put your mind to. And for us, even looking for the building was the biggest challenge. We were everywhere every day. Like we were not giving up and letting up. And the space that we're in, I remember seeing it for the first time. It was October of 2022. And I almost didn't see it, but I knew in my gut, I had this huge gut feeling of I need to go see this building. And I walked in, it was just all wood. And I'll never forget the moment when I walked in, they were still kind of like working on it. And I just cried. I was there with like all the construction workers and the realtor guys. And I was like, just give me a moment. I just have a feeling. And sure enough, it just went from there.
But isn't it crazy how our intuition or energy, like we just know, like you just know. I felt that same way with my house and a few other things in life where it's like, I cannot ignore this extreme gut instinct right now. And it literally stops you in your tracks. And so hard to follow that sometimes, but also like it's great that there's a knowing.
Yeah. And I think too, like being an entrepreneur and being just naturally quiet and reserved, I feel like you have to also be a little on the crazy side to do these types of things. I remember so many events, we would rent a U-Haul just to like bring in equipment. Like we would bring in our rogue bikes, our ski ergs, we would bring in dumbbells, like just so they can experience almost the full experience of Get Fit even before our doors open. And yeah, there was a lot of hard moments, and obviously there still is, but I remember one of the workouts we did a lot of parking lot workouts, and that way people can see the progress of the building. So they can see through all the windows right in the parking lot. And we would put ski ergs out there, our sandbags, weights, and people showed up. And
that's such a good idea of like making them part of the like actual build in a lot of ways, build of the community, seeing that, I don't know, just like that investment. But did you have all of this equipment from prior, or were you just buying this on good faith that like it was going to be used eventually? Like, how did that happen? And where did you keep it?
Yeah. So we started purchasing equipment little by little until we found the building, and truthfully we kept it all in our garage. So we have a 3-car garage, and that leading up to our opening day, it was just jam packed. And I was working out in our garage for quite some time before our doors opened. And there got to a point where it's like you can't even move in there. There's so much equipment. But we didn't have literally anything, like no equipment. I mean, I had a few dumbbells here and there just for like, my personal workout or whatever, but nothing we use in here. And so we started just doing all these events, and I just came up with all these random ideas of like, I want to do this type of workout. So let's now buy the sandbags, and so we would bring like sandbags to the workout. And so we just started like chipping away at it. And then towards the end of knowing we're like just about there in our opening date, we just ordered the rest of it. But for the most part, we had a lot of downtime because our build out took some time with permitting and, just construction, super fun. We would build out all of the machines. And so trying to do as much work as possible leading up to the doors opening.
So do you have any like budgeting or financial advice for somebody who's looking to open a gym? Because obviously it's a huge investment, not just of your time and your energy, but financially. And I know that can be a really scary risk to take as a family. Do you have any advice?
Yeah. My biggest advice is honestly, number one, pray through it all. Because truthfully, I didn't think that this would ever be possible for us. And again, I'm very open, transparent, and my husband does work full time. He's an on-road supervisor at UPS. And so we've been wise with our money, just saving regardless of, whatever happened even prior to this. But I also knew leading up to us moving out here, kind of a time frame. And to be honest with you, I worked tremendously for most of all of this stuff. And a lot of that was training extra. A lot of that was building up my nutrition clientele. And I also was a substitute teacher for quite some time, even before we moved here. And I subbed a lot when we did move here. And people think I'm crazy for that. But again, I truly don't care. This is just like the reality of it. And I view it in a perspective of like, yes, like work hard for everything that you have. I feel like there's a type of ownership there that it's almost like we did it. Like it's more exciting and not being reliant on other people or other ways to make your dreams happen. And the whole year of 2023, I feel like I told everybody this, but my theme was, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Like, I'll just figure it out. And it was great, honestly. Even leading up to us opening, even me being in the school districts around here, because I got to connect with a bunch of teachers and admin and honestly the students too. And that was a blast. But I mean, I had a goal, and I was and I still am very driven. Even as far as like, I'll use our treadmills, for example, our assault treadmills. That was something we don't have at our other Get Fits because California, right? We didn't have to worry about snow or ice or any of that kind of stuff. And I knew that was a need here. And so I knew what it would take, truthfully, how many times I need to sub to purchase those. And so I nailed it out. And I thank my parents for that, for instilling the work ethic into me and my brothers. Has been truthfully the biggest blessing, even though growing up, it didn't seem that way with all the chores and everything we used to have to do. But yeah, truthfully, full faith, and ask all the questions. That is my biggest advice to people too, is don't be afraid to ask all the questions, to stand up for yourself, even when it comes to opening a business and you are hit with this like huge lease that feels very daunting and overwhelming, and a bunch of verbiage that you might not understand. And my biggest advice is to hire a lawyer through all of that, to kind of dumb it down in a sense, to so you know what you're walking yourself yourself into. But ultimately, you have to take some type of risk to do something like this. And knowing at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you still have your family and you still have your dignity and just who you are as a person. And so that's something that I remind myself daily of. And this is all like really temporary. And yeah, that was a long answer for your question.
No, that was so good. And I think you should be so incredibly proud of yourself for you are able to see the sum of your investment, like your personal investment of what you worked hard for and saved for and honestly grinded to earn and achieve. Like you are now literally sitting in as we record
Yeah.
this episode. And I think that says so much about tenacity and budgeting and just awareness and also like faith in yourself. And of course, an element of being able to practice brave, which of course I have to shed light on because I see it in you. And I think it's so like admirable. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go about opening a gym and maybe different financial resources and whatnot. But I also think that's so amazing when you can bet on yourself. And, this wasn't an impulsive thing. This was a long grind of gradually building and saving and creating over time. And I think that that's just a really admirable perspective. So how many members are you at now? Because you opened again, like basically beginning of this year after hosting just different workouts, different parts of the city in your parking lot. What was your opening member numbers at? Ish.
Yeah, we were originally supposed to open in June. And I laugh about it now, even though during that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is taking 10 years.
Yeah.
But I know like our opening date was a reason and purpose. And so we were in a funky season because we started pre-launching our founding memberships in May of 2023. Knowing and hoping that we were going to open in June, July, gave ourselves enough time to kind of hype everything up. And then it was like delay after delay after delay. So I share this because during that process, it's like you have this huge hype of like, we're about to open. And then all of a sudden it's like, something happened or permitting.
Right.
And so like to maintain that same intensity and just excitement from people was probably the most challenging thing to do. So that's why we're like, parking lot workout. Let's go. Let's do the things.
And were they paying you for your parking lot workouts, or was that just something that it was just free and it was just to like keep building that know, like, and trust factor?
Yeah, we did a lot of things. Like we did an acai bowl. We did a lot of like sponsorship stuff. We sponsored a 5K and a 10K back in June to help spread our word too. And it was for a great cause. But leading up to our opening date, we opened December 16th. So a week before Christmas. Great time. It's a great time to open a studio. We started with like 40 members and that seems like a very small number, but for people that aren't even knowing your brand or really, we had members sign up that I didn't even physically meet yet. And so that felt weird to me because I'm very much a people person and want to connect and talk with you. And since then, our membership has almost tripled. And I share that because, again, to me, especially being in the fitness industry, trust is the biggest thing. The biggest thing. I can't tell you how many times we are asked, do you have a year contract? Do you have, whatever contract? We're like, no, at the end of the day, we want to do right by people. And that is the last thing we want to lock somebody in something that maybe isn't working for them. And so just seeing the excitement from our members, we've had a lot of conversion of maybe the wife or the husband has signed up, but then convinced either one to, merge into a couple's membership. That has happened a lot here. It's been spreading like wildfire, which is it's so great. To give you a great example, our 9:30 class today, had a brand new lady come in, 75 years old. And I'm like, how did you hear about us? I always ask that. And she's like, actually, I went to the doctor because she was having some heart stuff going on. And she's like, my doctor told me to come here. And we have a lot of PAs and nurses and first responders in our studio. And like, what is her name? And she told me, but she's not a client here. And I was like, well, I just want to like thank you for the referral. And so the community is starting to I don't know what the right word is. They're just like catching on like, wow, this is a great space, and I think you should go check it out. And that has been honestly, like, we'll market all day on our social media and email platform, but the most powerful form of marketing is the word of mouth, coming from a friend or a neighbor. Has been the coolest thing. And then they get to work out with their people. And so that's been awesome.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree. I think that there's so much to be said. It doesn't matter what kind of marketing strategy or whatever you have. It's truly like the connections you make and making people feel like it is easy to endorse you. Like, you don't even have to ask them. They want to endorse you because they believe in it. They like what you do. They like the results that you're giving. They like what you're about. And surrounding yourself with people who want to see you win and your business win, your community win, like that is the key, but that is not without so much work that I know you've put into it. And you've just set such a great example for what it means to, like, I tell the PNPA coaches all the time, like, you have to get involved in your community. Mm-hmm. You have to talk to like your doctors that you go to, the different local businesses, the people that are like adjacent to the work that we do. That is the way to build clientele and experience and just get your name out there and what you do. And you've just done such a beautiful job of that. And I'm so happy for you that you're reaping the rewards of growth and like just such positive impact in the community.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So if people want to learn more about you and your gym, where can they follow you at?
Yeah, if you are on social media, which I feel like most of you are, you can follow us at Get Fit Meridian, or my personal page. It's just hannah.a.donnelly, super basic. You can find us there, or on our website. It's just getfitcommunity.com/Meridian. All of our offering is on there, and then you'll be able to see a good picture of the building and our community.
That's so awesome. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm so glad that we connected here, and keep it up, girl.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practice Brave podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review and help us spread the work we are doing to improve the overall information and messaging in the fitness industry and beyond. Now, if you are pregnant and you are looking for a trustworthy exercise program to follow, I have you covered. The Pregnant Athlete Training Program is a well-rounded program for pregnancy with workouts for each week that are appropriate for your changing body. That's 36 weeks of workouts, 3 to 4 workouts each week, and tons of guidance on exercise strategy. We also have an at-home version of that program. If you are postpartum and you're looking for an exercise program to follow, the 8-week Postpartum Athlete Training Program would be a really great way to help bridge the gap between rehab and the fitness you actually want to do. From there, we have the Practice Brave Fitness Program, which is an ongoing strength and conditioning program where you get new workouts each week and have a lot of guidance from myself and my co-coach, Heather Osby. This is the only way that I'm really offering ongoing coaching at this point in time. If you have ever considered becoming a certified pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coach, I would love to have you join us. Pregnancy and Postpartum Athleticism is a self-paced online certification course that will up-level your coaching skills and help connect the dots between pelvic health and long-term athletic performance, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. Become who you needed and become who your online and local community needs by becoming a certified pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coach. Thank you again for listening to the Practice Brave podcast. I appreciate you. And please help me continue spreading this messaging, this information, and this work.